Okay, so we talked on Friday about just the basics of exponents. You know, what it means. 2 squared, 5 squared, stuff like that. Then yesterday we learned about multiplying exponents. You add the little numbers. Multiply powers, you add the exponents. A power to a power. You multiply the little exponents. So today we're going to discuss, like, what if an exponent is a 0? Something to the 0 power. Or what if something is like 5 to the negative 3 power? What happens then? So the first thing we're going to start off with is completing this chart. So let me do I'll do this for now since we're, okay. 2 to the 4th. How do I write that expanded out? Okay. Great. And what is that math answer when I multiply it? 16. Awesome. I did 2 to the 3rd. 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8. Okay, what about 2 squared? Expanded. What's that math answer? Standard form? 4. 2 to the 1. Okay, easy. Okay, what seems natural for me to write in the space below? 2 to the 0, if we're following the pattern. Okay, well, here's the rule for zeros. Any number to the 0 power is just 1. Because look at how I'm going down. (16 to 8), 8 to 4, 4 to 2. So I'm obviously it's gonna be a smaller number, right? Anything to the 0 power is 1. So that's still 1. Like 87 to the 0 power is 1. 6L to the 0 power. 1. The whole thing just becomes 1. 8Q to the 0. What about that? Just the Q is to the 0 power, though. 8 times 1. 8. Okay? Anything to the 0 power. Now, what seems natural for me to do next? 2 to the negative 1. Okay, negative exponents are not going to become negative answers. Negative exponents just means that we have a really, really small number. Really, really small numbers are fractions. Because if I go look at my pattern, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, but it's not 0. It's just going to become a fraction. And the fractions will get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So, here's what you do. The negative exponent flips down into a fraction. So basically, the number goes down. And I have a 2 to the 1st power down at the denominator. That's where it goes. It goes down to the bottom. And on top is just going to be a 1. Because I got to put something there. I can't put a 0. So, a 2, here, let me write it over here. I'm going to do it in red. 2 to the negative 1, if it were like over 1, if I made it into a fraction, this would drop down to the bottom. And I would still have, I would have nothing on top, but nothing is not 0. Nothing is just a 1. It's like the reciprocal. So what is 1 over 2 to the 1st power? Because now, notice it's no longer a negative 1. That's how I get it to become positive. I drop it down. And my arrow sure does look awful. There you go. 1 over 2 to the 1st power is 2. What seems next for me to write? 2 to the what power? Negative 2. Same process. It's not going to become a negative number. It's not going to become 0. It's going to become a small number, a fraction number. Drop it down. 2 squared. On the denominator, it's always going to be a 1 on the numerator. Never a 0 or anything. What is 1 over 2 squared? Do that math. 1/4. See how the fractions are getting smaller? 1/2 of a circle. Now it's 1/4 of a circle. Then it goes down to 1 over 2 to the third, 1/8. So smaller and smaller and smaller. Never hit 0, by the way. Okay, so with that in mind, let's do our practice over here. 0 exponent. We're still in the main ideas. What is x to the 0 power? 1. What is 3 to the 0 power? 1. So smart. What is 4 to the 0 power? 1. They're all 1s. Over here, x to the negative 1. What happens to that negative exponent? Turns into a positive and drops down. Negative exponents drop down. How about x to the negative second? Becomes what?
1/2.
1 over. Oh, but it's still x, but it becomes a positive 2. Dropping it down means the negative sign goes away. Okay, the 3's already on top. The negative exponent's on the bottom. Where is it supposed to go if it's already on the bottom? Where's the only place for it to go? Not on the bottom, it's already on the bottom. Up. It goes to the top. So 3's already on the top there, and the x squared comes up to the top with it. If you want to prove that it's on the top, you could put it over 1. Remember, we don't have to write over 1 for everything. Okay, let's slowly go through more practice. Okay. Over on the side, I just kind of put little basic general reminders. So let's do number 1. Okay, I have 2 options for you. I need you to see it both ways. This is obviously going to be 3 squared times 1, correct? The 3 to the 0 became a 1. What is 3 squared times 1? 3 squared. What's 3 squared? 9. Here's the other way to do it. They both have a base of 3. You can do 3 to the 2 plus 0. You can add the exponents there. What is 2 plus 0? 2. What is 3 squared? 9. So you get the same answer. So I just showed you 2 ways to do this. You can make your to the 0 powers 1s, or you can just add the exponents. On B, what do I have for B? What is to the 0 power? The x's. What is the 2 to anything? No. 2 times 1. X to the 0 becomes 1. The 2 is not a part of the 0 power.
Let's go. Cut the basketball. Oh, sorry. We have to wait. Slowly. Bro, our bus leaves in 10 minutes. Alright.
You didn't know.
Well, I knew we had a game, but I didn't know I had to take the bus. I did?
Okay, what about, 2 times 1, 2. Okay, what about C? The whole thing is to the 0 power. The whole thing. 1. Easy, easy. Woo, look at D. We're just going to go bit by bit by bit. 2, nothing. X squared, nothing. Y to the 0 becomes what? 1. 3 becomes 3. X to the 0 becomes 1. Y becomes Y. Now go through and combine all the numbers, and then combine, well, there's only one X and there's only another Y. So what is 2 times 1 times 3 times 1?
6.
X squared is alone. Leave it alone. X squared. Y is just there by itself. Y. Just leave it Y. Okay? Over on the side, I just kind of want to review. When in doubt, write it out. X to the 0 always equals 1. Any number to the 0. X to the negative 1 equals 1 over X to the first, which is the same as 1 over X.
Would it be 6 or 7?
If the negative exponent starts out on the bottom, it's going to become X to the first over 1, or just X to the first, or just X. Okay? So this is just like the basics of it. All right, I'm going to move on to E and F. Okay. Looking at it, you need to move anything that's a negative exponent. So that X to the negative second, where is it going to go? X to the negative second.
To the bottom.
Let's expand. Whoa. To the bottom. Okay. 3 stays on top, Y stays on top. Go to the denominator. Is anything going to move up?
9x y to the negative 1.
Well, which thing moves up? Just the Y. Toot, 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 up. So, on top I have a 3. This one. This Y also stayed on top. And then what's the thing that moved up? The red arrow? Another Y to the first, but we don't have to write a little 1. Okay, now let's talk about the bottom. What's there on the bottom? 9. This 9 was already there. This X was already there. What moved down? Blue. X squared. Now do your combining, simplifying. On top I have what? 3YY. What does that simplify to? Okay. On the bottom, the 9, what do I have? 9x to the third. Okay. Do you see anything there that I can simplify or reduce or anything? 3/9. 1/3. Here's your final answer, people. Y squared is alone on top. 3x to the third is on the bottom. Okay, F. This whole parentheses is to the negative 1. What's going to happen if the whole thing is to the negative 1? No. It's going to go down. 2x squared y to the first. Positive 1 now. What about that second parentheses? 2 squared. X to the 0 times 2. Y to the second. It'll stay on the top. 2 squared. X to the 0 times 2. What's 0 times 2? 0. Y squared. Okay, I don't need an x to the 0 anymore, and I don't need this parentheses to the first power anymore. So here's what I'm going to write. 2 squared is what? 4. X to the 0, I don't need it anymore. What's y squared? just y squared, over 2x squared y. You have one more thing to do because you have like common things on top and bottom. Let me expand it out for you. Expand 4y over 2xxy. Right? Isn't that expanded?
Yes.
Is there anything on top and bottom that's the same that could cancel out? These y's can cancel out each other. What about 4 and 2? 4 over 2. Here's your real final answer. 2y over x squared. It takes a while, and it's all like step by step. I want to start the classwork with you, because I think that it would be helpful for me to do so. All right. Hey, number 1 has both 2's, the same base. Add the exponents. I know it says 0 and you want to put a 1, but look, 2 to the 3rd plus 0. 2 to the 3 plus 0. 2 to the 3rd. 8. Number 2. They have the same base, guys. They're all negative 5's. What power is this first one to? To the power of what? 1. So, here's what I have. And I'm going to put them in parentheses. 1 plus negative 5 plus 5. Real quick, this right here is negative 5 to the first, the same as just plain old negative 5. Are those the same things? Oh, you can't see it. Is negative 5 to the first the same as negative 5? Are those two things the same? No. They are. Okay, because they're both to the first power. I don't have to put a parentheses, or I can. What is, look, go back to red. What is 1 plus negative 5 plus 5? 1 plus negative 5 plus a positive 5. 1. Do you see how these cancel to make 0? No, you don't. You can just do this. Or you can do this if you feel more comfortable putting a 1. They mean the same thing. Go to 3. Hey, they have the same base. What do I do to the exponents? 3 plus negative 3. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Your homework is only 1 through 14 on the paper. Do not do any bookwork. Do not do any bookwork. Okay?